Picture this, you're talking to a woman, she smiles, leans in just a little, maybe tucks her hair behind her ear or adjusts her bracelet. You feel like something's there, but you're not sure. Is she actually into you, or is she just being polite? Countless men have been in this exact situation, stuck between curiosity and hesitation. And the result? They let the moment slip, only to regret not making a move. Here's the truth. Women rarely come out and say, "I want you to make a move." Instead, they drop subtle, almost invisible signs, tiny psychological cues that only a man who knows what to look for will catch. Miss those signs, and you don't just miss a date, you miss the chance to spark real attraction. But spot them and act with confidence at the right moment, and everything changes. In today's video, I'm going to break down 7 hidden signs she's waiting for you to take the lead. These aren't vague, "she likes you" tips. These are specific, psychology-backed signals that will help you tell the difference between a polite smile and an unspoken invitation. By the end, you won't be guessing anymore. You'll know, and when you know, you'll move with the kind of certainty that makes her feel like she's been waiting for this moment all along. Let's get into it. Number 1. She engineers accidents to be near you. A lot of guys think proximity is just coincidence. They'll tell themselves, "Oh, she just happened to walk by," or "she was probably heading somewhere else." But here's the truth. Women who are interested will often create subtle opportunities to be in your space, and they'll make it look like pure chance. Picture this. Jake, 29, works in a marketing firm. Every afternoon, he takes a coffee break around 3 p.m. Lately, he's noticed that Emily, a woman from another department, seems to accidentally show up at the coffee machine at the exact same time. The first time, maybe it was random. The second time, a coincidence. But by the 5th time in 2 weeks, that's a pattern. These accidents are strategic. It's low risk for her if you don't pick up on it. She can pretend it was nothing, but if you do, you now have a natural opening for conversation. She's not just bumping into you for fun, she's creating a controlled environment where you two can interact without it feeling forced. Psychologically, this taps into something powerful. Familiarity breeds comfort. The more often she's around you, the more natural it feels for her to open up, laugh at your jokes, and let the tension grow. She's giving you repeated micro moments to spark connection, and if you're oblivious, those moments vanish. There's also body language to watch for in these engineered encounters. Does she angle her body toward you instead of away? Does she linger a few extra seconds before leaving? Maybe she starts a casual remark about something nearby. The coffee's too strong, the printer's acting up just to keep you engaged. It's important to understand, these aren't grand gestures. Women rarely make their interest obvious. Instead, they weave it into everyday life so it's easy for them to retreat if they need to. That's why men who can read these subtle cues stand out, because they don't just see a random meeting, they recognize an invitation. A perfect real-world example: Tyler, 33, hits the gym every morning before work. One day, he notices a woman named Claire adjusting her schedule, so she's often on the treadmill next to his. Sometimes, she's even stretching in the same area when he arrives. Over time, she starts throwing quick comments about the music playing or joking about how sore she is. Tyler could have dismissed it as nothing, but by picking up on her pattern and responding with confidence, he turned those coincidences into a genuine spark. The Stoics would say, observe without haste, but see clearly. This isn't about being paranoid or assuming every woman is into you. It's about sharpening your awareness so you can respond when the signals are there. Now, here's where most men fail. They think spotting the sign means immediately making a bold move. Wrong. The key here is gradual escalation. If she's putting herself near you, meet her halfway. Start with casual acknowledgement, a nod, a smile, a brief comment, then build from there. Let her see that you've noticed her presence without making it awkward or overly intense. Women use engineered proximity as a test. She's checking not just if you're interested, but how you handle the moment. If you're confident, relaxed, and receptive, she'll feel safe to keep creating those accidents, and eventually, they won't feel like accidents at all. So, next time you notice a pattern in how often she's around, don't brush it off. See it for what it is, a door she's quietly leaving open. All you have to do is step through it. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. Have you ever realized after the fact that a woman was doing this and you missed it? Drop a quick comment with, "I see the signs." And keep watching, because the next sign is even more subtle, and if you catch it in the moment, it can flip the dynamic in your favor instantly. Number 2, her compliments hit your masculine core. When a woman is truly interested, her compliments aren't random. They're not just, "Oh, nice shirt" or "cool shoes." They aim straight for the heart of what makes you feel like a man. This is deliberate. She's bypassing surface-level flattery and tapping into your masculine identity. Think about it, a woman can say, "You're handsome" to anyone, but if she says, "I feel safe around you," or "You always seem so in control," that's a different level. She's not just noticing your appearance, she's affirming traits linked to protection, strength, confidence, the qualities evolution has wired women to be drawn toward. Psychologically, this type of compliment plants a seed. It makes you more aware of your role in her eyes, and it subtly challenges you to keep living up to that image. She's engaging with the part of you that defines your presence, not just your looks. The Stoics had a clear view on this. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." In other words, if you recognize these compliments for what they are, they can serve as a mirror reflecting not just how she sees you, but reminding you of the standards you set for yourself. Here's the key difference. Platonic compliments often stay in the safe zone. "I like your style," "You're so funny." Romantic interest goes deeper. "You make me feel calm." "You have this energy about you." These are invitations, whether conscious or not, for you to take the interaction further. Sometimes she'll mask them with humor to avoid being too direct. She might joke, "You look like the kind of guy who could talk his way out of anything," or tease, "You always walk in like you own the place." But underneath the playfulness, she's highlighting traits she finds attractive. Now, here's where most men mess this up. They either brush it off completely or downplay it. They'll say, "Nah, I'm not like that," thinking humility is attractive, but in reality, deflecting too much kills the spark. The better move? Receive it with relaxed confidence. A slight smile, direct eye contact, maybe a simple, "I appreciate that." This shows you're comfortable owning the trait she's recognizing. Why does this matter so much? Because by targeting your masculine core, she's not only expressing attraction, she's testing your self-awareness. Do you know who you are? Do you stand in it without overcompensating? If you do, it reassures her that her attraction is justified. Picture this in action. You're telling a story about handling a tense situation at work. She leans in and says, "You're the kind of guy people listen to without even realizing it." That's not small talk. That's a green light, wrapped in observation, designed to see how you respond. The subtext is everything. When she compliments your decisiveness, your calm under pressure, your ability to make people feel safe, she's not talking about skills. She's talking about the essence of you. And if you meet her gaze and let that moment breathe, you create a pocket of tension that goes beyond words. In the end, these compliments are about more than validation. They're about connection. They reveal how she's framing you in her mind, and that frame is what determines whether her attraction grows or fades. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When her words paint you in strong, desirable colors, it's a reflection of where her mind already is, and an invitation for you to step fully into that role. Now, before we jump to the next sign, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed a woman compliment you in a way that felt different, deeper? Drop a comment below with, "I own it," if you know how to stand in that energy. And keep watching, because the next sign we'll cover is even trickier to catch, but when you do, it changes the entire dynamic. Number 3. She mirrors your rhythm and pace. When a woman is drawn to you, her body often reveals it before her words ever do. One of the most subtle but powerful ways this happens is through mirroring your rhythm and pace. It's like her subconscious is trying to sync with yours, creating a silent, physical harmony between the two of you. This isn't just about copying gestures, it's deeper. It's the way she starts leaning in when you do, matching the tempo of your speech, or even walking in stride with you without realizing it. Human beings are wired for this. It's called non-verbal mimicry, and psychologists know it's a strong indicator of rapport and attraction. Take Jake, a 29-year-old graphic designer from Austin. He told me about meeting Emily, a 27-year-old marketing consultant, at a friend's rooftop party. At first, their conversation was casual, but after a few minutes he noticed something. Every time he crossed his legs, she did too. When he leaned back, she leaned back. Even her laughter started matching the rhythm of his speech. Jake didn't call it out, but he knew the vibe had shifted. By the time they left, they were walking down the street in perfect step, like it had been choreographed. This kind of mirroring isn't fake or forced. In fact, if it feels mechanical, it loses all of its impact. The real magic happens when it's unconscious, when she's so tuned into you that her body automatically aligns with yours. And that alignment does something primal. It signals trust, connection, and a readiness to be closer. The Stoics, though they didn't speak in terms of flirting, understood the idea of harmony between people. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In the context of attraction, it's not just about listening with your ears, it's about listening with your entire presence. When she mirrors you, she's essentially saying, "I'm with you, in your world, on your wavelength." Men often miss this because they're too focused on the obvious signs, a big laugh, direct compliments, overt touches. But subtle cues like mirroring are actually more reliable. Why? Because they're hard to fake. Anyone can give a polite compliment, but no one consciously keeps their footsteps in sync unless they're trying way too hard. Here's how to handle it when you notice it. Don't point it out, don't joke about it, and definitely don't overanalyze it in the moment. Instead, let the shared rhythm deepen the interaction. Maybe slow your pace slightly and see if she follows. Maybe lean in during a quiet moment and notice if she mirrors the movement. These micro adjustments create a feedback loop. Each subtle match builds on the next, increasing the unspoken tension. Jake told me that with Emily, by the end of the night, there was this effortless comfort. No one had to say, "I like you." It was already understood in the way they moved together. And when he finally suggested grabbing a late-night coffee, she didn't hesitate. That's the power of mirroring. It lays the groundwork for physical closeness without a single word. If you're wondering whether this applies outside of one-on-one settings, absolutely. In a group, she might still angle her body toward you, match your energy when you're telling a story, or subtly shift her drink to the same hand you're holding yours in. All of these are tiny, almost invisible threads weaving a connection between you. So, when you catch this sign, know that it's not random. It's her body speaking in a language older than words, one that says, "I feel safe in your rhythm, and I want to stay here." Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed someone unconsciously syncing up with you like this? Drop a comment below with, "I feel the sync," if you've experienced that silent connection. And stick around, because the next sign is one most men overlook, yet it's one of the clearest green lights you'll ever get. Number 4, she breaks the touch barrier light, intentional, close. One of the clearest signals a woman is ready for you to make a move is when she breaks the touch barrier, and it's not accidental. I'm not talking about the quick, impersonal bump in a crowded space. I mean those moments when her hand grazes your arm as she laughs, when her knee lightly presses against yours under the table, or when she lets her fingertips linger just a second longer than necessary. Touch is primal. It bypasses the logical brain and speaks directly to our nervous system. It's how human beings have signaled safety, trust, and attraction for thousands of years. When she initiates contact, even in a subtle way, she's testing the waters. Do you notice? Do you respond? Do you welcome it? Here's where many men mess up. They either overreact, treating a light brush as if it's a full-on declaration of desire, or they freeze and ignore it entirely. The Stoics would warn against both extremes. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, don't let a single touch throw you off balance. Recognize it for what it is, an invitation to deepen the connection, not a guarantee. These touches are rarely random. Think about it. She could just as easily keep her distance, keep her hands to herself, but instead, she's choosing proximity. If she's standing next to you at a party, she might brush lint off your shirt even when there's nothing there. If you're sitting together, she may accidentally rest her arm so close that it grazes yours every time she shifts. It's a physical breadcrumb trail, and she's watching to see if you'll follow. The key is to mirror the energy without overstepping. If she rests her hand lightly on your forearm while making a point, you can respond later with a similar gesture, perhaps a gentle touch to her elbow as you guide her through a doorway. This builds a rhythm of mutual comfort, where touch becomes part of the conversation rather than a shocking interruption. There's also an emotional undercurrent here. Breaking the touch barrier isn't just about physical contact, it's about signaling vulnerability. By reaching out, she's showing you she feels safe enough to close that space. In a world where personal boundaries are guarded more fiercely than ever, that's a significant step. But here's the catch: you can't fake your way through this moment. If you're stiff, tense, or clearly desperate for more, she'll feel it instantly. Attraction thrives on grounded energy. The more you stay centered, the more she can lean into the moment without feeling pressure. Again, the Stoics remind us, no man is free who is not master of himself. Your composure is what allows her to keep testing, keep escalating. Some of these touches will be fleeting like a spark. Others will linger like a warm ember. Both are signs. Your job isn't to pounce, but to stay present, to read her cues, and to let the tension build naturally. When handled with patience, these light touches become the stepping stones to deeper physical and emotional intimacy. And remember, if she's touching you in public, she's making a choice to let others see that comfort and connection. That's no small thing. It's a public acknowledgement, even if subtle, that there's something between you. Now, let's make this interactive. Have you ever had a moment where a simple, light touch from someone changed the entire energy between you? Share it below with "I felt the spark," so we can see how often this happens. Stay tuned, because the next sign takes this a step further. It's not just about touch, but about the way she invites you into her personal space without saying a word. That's where things get even more charged. Number 5. Her questions go deep, fast. When a woman is truly interested, she doesn't linger in the shallow end of conversation for long. She skips past the predictable small talk and dives straight into the depths where your real self lives. This is not her making polite conversation. This is her wanting to know you in a way others don't. If you've ever met someone and within minutes they're asking, "What's the biggest risk you've ever taken?" or "What drives you when you feel like giving up?" That's not random curiosity. That's intentional. She's probing past your surface to find the man underneath, the one who doesn't just list facts about his life, but reveals the values and emotions that shape it. Take Michael, 32, as an example. He met Jenna, 28, at a mutual friend's rooftop party. Within 10 minutes, she wasn't asking where he worked or what he thought of the weather. Instead, she leaned in and asked, "What's something you wish people understood about you?" Michael felt his guard drop instantly. The question caught him off guard in the best way. It told him she was paying attention. She wasn't here to waste time, and she wanted to connect on a level most people never reach. This is where a lot of men miss the signal. They answer quickly, keep it surface level, and then switch the topic back to safe ground. But here's the thing, when a woman goes deep fast, she's not just making conversation, she's giving you permission to match her vulnerability. In her mind, if you can't meet her there, maybe you're not the man who can hold her trust in the long run. The Stoics had a principle that fits perfectly here. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. In other words, listen without judgment, and when it's your turn, answer with honesty. Don't just give the answer you think will impress her, give the one that's true. When she asks deeper questions, she's testing for more than compatibility. She's testing your composure. Can you talk about your passions without arrogance? Can you share your challenges without self-pity? Can you show her that you're both human and unshaken? Here's the subtle magic. When a woman connects with you in this way, she starts building a private little world between the two of you. She's filtering out the noise of the crowd and creating a moment where it feels like it's just the two of you talking in a busy room. That's intimacy before intimacy, and it's incredibly powerful. But you also have to understand the pacing. If she asks a deep question, answer it fully, then gently turn the spotlight back on her. Michael did this with Jenna. After sharing something vulnerable about a career risk he took, he asked, "What about you? What's the boldest decision you've made this year?" That's when she smiled, not because of the question itself, but because she saw he understood the game. He wasn't just consuming her stories, he was inviting her to reveal more. This back and forth creates a rhythm that most men never experience, because they're too busy trying to impress with facts or humor instead of genuine presence. And presence is what makes deep questions work. As Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Your job is to truly hear her, respond with thought, and hold her gaze without rushing to fill the silence. If you've ever had someone ask you something that made you pause, breathe, and think before you answered, you know how rare that is. And you also know how electric it feels when someone actually wants that level of connection with you. So, here's my challenge for you. The next time a woman skips the small talk and dives deep, don't backpedal, lean in. That's not just conversation, that's attraction unfolding in real time. Drop a comment below and finish this sentence. I open up when. I want to see how you handle those moments when the questions get real. And keep watching, because the next sign is about something even more primal. It's not what she says, but how her body quietly tells you she's ready for more. Number 6. She makes time and moves things for you. When a woman is genuinely interested, she doesn't just fit you into her schedule, she rearranges her schedule for you. This isn't about convenience, it's about priority. Life is busy for everyone, and modern dating often feels like a game of calendar Tetris. But when she makes space for you, especially at the expense of something else, that's a powerful sign you're not just another casual interaction in her day. Think about it, people guard their time fiercely. Between work, friends, family, hobbies, and downtime, there's only so much room to spare. So, when she says, "I was supposed to meet a friend, but I moved it so we could grab coffee," what she's really saying is, "I want to see you more than I want to stick to my plans." That's no small thing. This is where men often underestimate the significance. You might think, she's just being nice, but in reality, this kind of adjustment reflects intentional interest. The Stoics had a saying, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" The same applies here. She's already made the decision that her best use of time, at least in this moment, is with you. But here's the key. When she moves things for you, she's not just creating space for the meeting, she's making emotional space too. She's showing you she's willing to be flexible, which is one of the clearest forms of investment in a potential connection. The important part? You have to meet that investment with equal value. If she's putting in effort, don't treat it like a throwaway gesture. Acknowledge it subtly. Something as simple as, "I appreciate you making time for this," communicates that you don't take her effort for granted. The worst thing you can do is act entitled, as if her rescheduling is just expected. That kills attraction faster than you think. There's also a deeper layer to this. Rearranging her plans for you is a risk on her part. She's betting that your time together will be worth the changes she made. If you show up distracted, disengaged, or ungrateful, you confirm that she made the wrong call. But if you're present, engaging, and intentional, you reinforce her instinct that shifting things for you was the right move. From a psychological perspective, humans are wired to value what they invest in. The more she invests in time, thought, or emotional energy, the more she'll subconsciously want it to pay off. This means that when she sacrifices other activities to be with you, she's actually deepening her own emotional stake in the connection. Here's a subtle way to test this. Suggest something spontaneous that requires her to shift her plans. If she resists or makes excuses every time, she's probably not that interested. But if she says, "I can move some things around," or even, "I was supposed to do X, but I'll skip it," you've got your answer. Remember though, the Stoic mindset applies here too. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Your role isn't to manipulate her into making time, it's to be the kind of man she wants to make time for. That means living a life with purpose, carrying yourself with confidence, and engaging her in ways that make your presence feel valuable. If you start noticing her shifting commitments to see you, understand that you've moved past casual interest and into deliberate action. That's one of the strongest non-verbal cues of attraction there is. Now, here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment below and finish this sentence. I make time for. Let's see how you define your own priorities. And keep watching, because the next sign has nothing to do with calendars or plans. It's about a magnetic pull she can't control, even when she tries. Number 7. Her calm cracks. Blush, fidget, spark. When a woman is completely at ease with you, her body language flows naturally. But when attraction sneaks in, something fascinating happens. That calm, collected demeanor starts to crack. You'll notice subtle changes. A faint blush on her cheeks, her fingers playing with her hair or jewelry, or her foot tapping without rhythm. These microsignals aren't random. They're her body's involuntary way of expressing excitement, nervousness, and heightened awareness. Let's make this real. Imagine Mark, 31, meeting Emma, 28, for the third time at a mutual friends gathering. Up until now, their conversations have been casual and friendly. But tonight, as Mark leans in to tell a story, Emma's posture changes. She shifts her weight, her hand fiddles with the stem of her wine glass, and she glances down before looking back into his eyes. A soft pink flush spreads across her face. Mark hasn't said anything explicitly flirtatious yet, but her body has already told him everything he needs to know. The Stoics had a saying, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When a woman is around a man she's attracted to, her internal state inevitably shows up in her external cues. No matter how much she tries to mask it, the mind and body are linked too tightly for her to keep complete control. Blushing, for instance, is one of the purest signs because it's involuntary. You can't will yourself to blush convincingly. It's an automatic response triggered by emotional arousal or self-consciousness. Fidgeting works similarly. She might adjust her hair, smooth her clothes, or tap her fingers, not because she's bored, but because her body is burning off the extra energy that attraction creates. And then there's the spark, that sudden brightness in her eyes when she looks at you. This isn't poetic fluff. Biologically, pupils dilate and the face becomes more animated when someone's engaged and emotionally stimulated. It's why a conversation that feels electric to both people has a different rhythm than small talk. The mistake many men make is dismissing these signs as shyness, nervousness, or just personality quirks. Yes, some women are naturally fidgety, and some blush easily, but context is everything. If she's usually composed and you notice these shifts only when you're talking to her, you're likely seeing genuine attraction at work. Take the example of Chris, 26, and Olivia, 25. They work in the same office, but rarely interact. One day, Chris stops by Olivia's desk to ask a quick question. She answers confidently, but as soon as he casually compliments the creativity of her recent project, she tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, her voice softens slightly, and she shifts in her chair. It's a small moment, but it tells a bigger story. He's affected her state more than she's willing to admit outright. Here's where self-awareness matters. If you pick up on these cues, it's not your job to call them out directly. That would likely embarrass her and kill the natural flow. Instead, let the interaction breathe. Keep your tone grounded, your eye contact steady, and your energy calm. This creates a safe contrast to her heightened state, which only deepens the tension in a good way. From a Stoic perspective, this is where you practice restraint. No great thing is created suddenly, said Epictetus. The point isn't to rush into action the moment you see a blush or a fidget. It's to recognize the moment for what it is, a green light, and then proceed with intention rather than impulse. When her calm cracks around you, she's revealing more than just attraction. She's showing you that, consciously or not, you've stepped into her mental space in a way others haven't. That's not something to take lightly. Now, I want you to drop a comment below and finish this sentence. I notice when. Share the subtle signs you've picked up on before. You might be surprised how many others have seen the same things. And stay tuned, because the next sign isn't about what happens when you're face to face, it's about how she subtly shapes the world around you so you keep crossing paths. Number 8. Her body stays open, feet, hips, eyes on you. One of the most telling, yet often overlooked, signs of attraction isn't in her words, it's in the openness of her body language. When a woman is engaged and interested, her body tends to orient toward you, as if her attention is magnetized. Her feet point your way, her hips angle toward you, and her eyes keep finding yours, even in a crowded space. This isn't just coincidence, it's the subconscious aligning with her interest. The fascinating thing about body orientation is that it often reveals what the mind is feeling before the person consciously decides to act. If she's closing herself off, arms folded, feet pointing away, torso angled toward the exit, it's a sign she's not fully invested in the interaction. But when everything stays open and directed toward you, it's her way of inviting connection without saying it outright. From a psychological standpoint, this openness creates an invisible loop. The human brain picks up on alignment and positioning at a subconscious level, and we interpret it as safety and approval. It's why conversations feel warmer and more intimate when two people are facing each other fully. The Stoics often spoke about the importance of perception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe what is in front of you." Most men, distracted by the content of the conversation, miss the deeper language happening in front of them. They hear her words, but don't see that her body is telling a more honest story. An open stance doesn't just happen when she's standing. If you're sitting at a cafe, notice if her knees are angled toward you, if her shoulders remain squared in your direction, or if she leans in without crossing her arms as a barrier. Even subtle details like tilting her head while maintaining eye contact can signal comfort and interest. It's also worth noting that the eyes on you part is huge. Eye contact is a powerful tool of connection. Prolonged glances, quick lookaways followed by a return, or the kind of gaze that lingers a beat too long all create a shared moment of tension. This isn't the blank stare of polite attention. It's charged, layered with meaning. From a more primal angle, the alignment of her hips toward you can be particularly telling. Evolutionary psychology suggests that open, forward-facing body language can be an unconscious display of receptiveness. It's not about overt sexuality. It's about signaling that she's comfortable in your presence and willing to be within your space. The mistake some men make is assuming this kind of openness is just how she stands or how she sits. Yes, some women have naturally relaxed posture, but consistent alignment toward you, paired with engaged eye contact, is rarely without intention. Context is key. If she maintains this openness throughout your interaction, especially when distractions are present, you're not imagining it, she's choosing to stay locked in on you. From a Stoic perspective, this is where self-control and discernment come in. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Apply this not only to words but to her body language. Observe without overreacting. Don't rush to label her openness as a guarantee, but don't ignore it either. The point is to let her signals inform your awareness, not dictate impulsive moves. When her feet, hips, and eyes are all on you, she's creating a silent channel of connection. She's telling you, without a single word, that you have her focus, and in a world where attention is the rarest currency, that's worth noticing. Now I want you to drop a comment and complete this thought. I notice her when... You'll be surprised how often men spot these cues, but second-guess themselves. And keep watching, because the next sign takes this one step further. It's not about where she's facing now, but about how she changes her patterns just to keep that connection alive. Number 9. Her circle pulls you in on purpose. Sometimes attraction isn't just about what she does when you're alone, it's about how she weaves you into her social world. If you start noticing that her friends suddenly happen to be around when you're talking, or that she introduces you to people in her circle without much of a reason, that's not a coincidence. It's a strategic move. Let's break it down. Women know that social validation is powerful. When her friends see you, interact with you, and respond positively, it creates a subtle seal of approval. This approval loop can make you feel more comfortable around her and increase the chances of things progressing. More importantly, if she's making sure you meet her circle, she's indirectly signaling that she's not just treating you like another random interaction, she's inviting you into her ecosystem. Take, for example, Jake, 29, who met Emily, 27, at a weekend farmer's market. At first, their chats were casual, but one day, Emily ran into Jake while she was with 2 of her closest friends. Instead of just saying hello and moving on, she pulled him into their conversation, introduced him warmly, and made sure he stayed involved. Jake later realized that this was her way of blending her worlds, seeing if he could fit naturally into her social life. This move serves multiple purposes. 1. It allows her to observe how you carry yourself in a group setting. Do you hold your ground confidently, or do you shrink back? 2. It lets her friends silently weigh in. Trust me, their opinions matter more than most men realize. From a psychological standpoint, this is a higher investment signal. Casual flings don't usually get this treatment. Integrating you into her circle, even in small doses, means she's testing for longer-term compatibility. So, if her friends start knowing your name, greeting you warmly, or teasing her in your presence, pay attention. It might be playful, but it's rarely random. Drop a comment and finish this line. I know she's interested when... Let's see how many of you have noticed this subtle but telling move. And keep watching, because the next sign is even more personal. It's about the way she uses her own little secrets to keep you locked in. Number 10. She drops future hooks you're meant to catch. When a woman is genuinely interested, she doesn't just live in the moment with you, she plants little seeds that pull you into her future. These aren't grand declarations like, we should go on vacation together next summer. They're subtle, almost throwaway comments that are meant to stick in your mind and create a sense of unfinished business between you. It could be something as simple as, "You've never tried that coffee shop on 5th. We have to go there sometime." Or, "Wait until you hear my playlist, you'll love it." On the surface, these sound like casual remarks, but they're not random, they're hooks. She's creating a thread that ties you together beyond the current interaction. This tactic works because our brains are wired to seek closure. When someone introduces a "to be continued" moment, it stays in the back of your mind until it's resolved. And if you're interested in her too, you'll find yourself thinking about that coffee shop, that playlist, or that event she mentioned, and eventually you'll bring it up. That's exactly what she wants. Take Ryan, 31, who met Chloe, 28, at a mutual friend's dinner. Mid-conversation, she laughed and said, "You haven't seen that movie? Okay, that's a crime, we're fixing that." A week later, Ryan found himself texting her about setting up a movie night. The hook had worked perfectly. From a psychological angle, these future hooks are a low-risk, high-reward strategy. They allow her to signal interest without making a direct move, and they give you a natural excuse to reach out later. It's attraction wrapped in plausibility. Even if anyone overheard, it would sound innocent. So, if she's peppering your conversations with unfinished invitations, hints about things you need to experience together, or references to places and events in the future, understand what's happening. She's leaving the door wide open, but she's waiting for you to walk through it. Drop a comment and finish this line, "I catch the hint when," and let's see how many of you have noticed these subtle future hooks before. If this video sparked something in you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way, you never miss the mindset shifts that can quietly change everything. Inside, we don't chase. We lead, and we grow together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.